Thanks for staying with us. The CEO of Telegram, Pavel Durov, has been detained in France, and this is over claims that the messaging service failed to find crime using the app. Now, there are also concerns around the spread of child sexual abuse material. Let's now speak to Jan Vermeulen, my Broadband Editor. Jan, thank you so much for your time this evening. Reports suggesting that his detention has been extended, but let's start with understanding who he is and his role as Telegram CEO.
Sure, yeah. Pavel Durov is affectionately known as Russia's Zuckerberg, even though he kind of renounces Russia. He's a Russian citizen, but he has not been particularly flattering of the Russian regime. And he got his start by launching Russia's version to Facebook, really, called vKontakte. And he was pressured, and this is where the animosity between him and the Russian government comes in. He was essentially pressured into selling it by the government. At least that's the way the story goes. We'll probably know the full truth of it 50 years from now when the documentaries get made. But that's what we know so far about the vKontakte saga. From there, he launched Telegram, which is essentially a drop-in replacement to WhatsApp, or that's how it started, as just a direct competitor to WhatsApp. And it's kind of grown into a instant messaging app with its own personality and footprint, like its own specialities and stuff. But it's essentially a competitor to WhatsApp. It's obviously has seen a lot of traction in recent years. Every time there's some scandal involving Facebook or WhatsApp, like, for example, WhatsApp's privacy policy change a couple of years ago, a bunch of people switched to Telegram or check out Telegram, and they gain users, like huge influxes of users that way. But it's grown into a pretty popular and powerful instant messaging app used all over the world.
And I suppose then it's no surprise that there's so much interest in this particular matter. The fact that he's now being interrogated as part of a case initiated by a cybercrime unit, of the Paris prosecutor's office. But let's talk about this interest in this particular matter.
Yeah, sure. So all of these social media platforms, when they reach sufficient scale, start dealing with just massive problems. Even a 1% problem on a platform of this scale is a massive problem if it's severe enough. So, for example, when we're talking about child sexual abuse material, it might be 0.0003% or something of stuff that gets posted to Telegram is child pornography. But at the scale these apps operate at, it's a massive problem. But it's not just Telegram. Other apps have struggled with similar issues, whether it's WhatsApp or Instagram. They've all had to build systems to deal with these problems and allow authorities to gather evidence from these platforms and prosecute criminals. And so from the sounds of the statement that's come out of the French authorities, he's being essentially slapped with all of the above. He's being accused of fraud, money laundering, of enabling the spread of child pornography, human trafficking, and then I think the real crux of it comes in at the end. And we'll see how this plays out. If this plays out like a Julius Assange type situation. But the very last thing they said in that statement was that he is essentially not cooperating with authorities. And so it will be interesting to see if, by our standards, whether he was pushing back against government overreach, or if indeed he was obstructing investigations into serious things.
And it's quite interesting because I suppose then it segues our discussion to, some of the challenges as well as responsibilities when it comes to content moderation on some of these platforms. And, especially not only Telegram, as you say, others have faced similar consequences or even action.
They've faced similar accusations, and they've had to address them in the past. But I don't remember Mark Zuckerberg getting arrested for stuff that's happened or happening on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Similarly, Elon Musk, for stuff that might be happening on Twitter. And so it's going to be interesting because when you bring there's a saying among scientists as well that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And what we're dealing with here is not just an extraordinary claim, it's extraordinary action against someone. It's the arrest of a very high-profile individual on very serious allegations, and so one hopes that these allegations hold up. If they were spurious, then that's going to erode the faith in authorities to go after the guys that deserve going after, the Epsteins and the Weinsteins of the world, and all those types of guys.
And it makes it look like a witch hunt if they can't prove, especially because you look at the statement that was released by his company saying that they will abide by whatever investigation ensues, but at the same time the owner cannot be held liable for abuse when it comes to the platform. But it's also, of course, lands itself, as you say, in the court of public opinion to say, can you prove this, or are you simply targeting him given his history possibly in Russia, or maybe some things you do not like going forward?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And naturally, the rumor mill is swirling because he's been on it looks like a tour of Europe with a female friend, and so now there's those rumors. He was in Azerbaijan, and there's rumors that he met with Vladimir Putin, which seems strange to me, given Pavel Durov's criticism of the Russian government and specifically Putin in the past. But maybe he did, and so there's rumors around that. But I think crucially, it comes down to there mustn't be double standards. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like, we don't want child sexual abuse material on these platforms. Just like, Telegram also got raked over the coals for allowing terrorist groups like ISIS to post recruitment videos on its platform, but so did YouTube. And so YouTube had to quickly, respond and get rid of the stuff because advertisers pull there's an immediate effect on YouTube, which is advertisers pull out. Telegram, that's less of an impact, it seems. But be that as it may, it's dealt. You can see that these problems have hit all of these platforms in some way, shape, or form. And one, as you like, when it gets down to the court of public opinion, as you say, we the public are going to want to see that this wasn't politically motivated. So France is assured that it isn't politically motivated. Russia and the UAE. So Durov is a citizen of both countries, have issued statements to the effect of they are watching this very carefully because they want to make sure their citizens' right is not infringed. And naturally, Russia stepping in has just fueled the rumor mill even further.
And of course, it's interesting times ahead. As you say, there have been serious allegations that have been leveled against other platforms, but we also saw a different kind of movement or even developments in that front. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one, because if social media is anything to go by, everybody's an expert on what's happening here. But thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jan, for your time. That was Jan Vermeulen, the My Broadband editor.